Hi everyone, my name is Abhiraj Garakapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Amazing Abhi. This season begins after Jinwoo has already shaken the world. The Jeju Island raid made him a national hero, the Japan crisis made him an international miracle, and the conference arc made every major hunter organization realize one terrifying truth: Sung Jinwoo is no longer just another S-rank hunter. But Season 4 is not about fame. It is about the real war hiding behind every gate. The monarchs stop moving in the shadows. The strongest hunters become targets. Jinwoo's family history comes into focus, and the story moves from hunter battles into a war between ancient beings, armies of destruction, and the Shadow Monarch himself. For this projected Season 4, we are covering the Monarch's War, the final battle, and the main epilogue. Roughly with chapters 150 through 179. At first, the world thinks it has already seen the worst. Gates, dungeon breaks, Jeju Island, giant monsters in Japan, all of that already felt like the end of the world. But then the pressure changes. The true enemies are no longer just monsters coming out of gates. The monarchs begin to act directly, and their goal is simple: remove the people who can interfere with their invasion. This is where the tone of solo leveling changes. Before this, Jinwoo was climbing the hunter world. Now the hunter world itself feels small. The battlefield expands beyond rankings, guilds and countries. It becomes clear that Earth has been prepared as a battleground for powers that existed long before humans understood what gates really were. One of the most emotional parts of this season is Chairman Go Gunhee's confrontation. He is old, injured, and no longer in his prime, but he is still one of the strongest and most respected hunters in Korea. More importantly, he is one of the few leaders who truly understands Jinwoo's value. When the monarchs come for him, Go Gunhee does not run. He faces them with dignity, even while knowing the enemy in front of him belongs to a completely different level. This moment matters because it shows how cruel the Monarch War is. It is not a tournament. It is not a fair duel. The monarchs attack important figures because they want to break humanity's resistance before the final invasion begins. For Jinwoo, Go Gunhee's death becomes another reason to stop holding back. The fight is no longer only about survival. It is personal. Season 4 finally brings Sung Il-chuan, Jinwoo's father, into the emotional center of the story. For a long time, he looked like a mystery, a hunter who disappeared inside a dungeon, returned years later, and moved like someone carrying secrets too heavy to explain. Here, we understand that he was never a simple missing father. He was connected to the rulers, and his mission was tied to the war surrounding Jinwoo. He had been watching, protecting, and waiting for the moment when everything would collapse around his son. The tragedy is that father and son do not get a normal reunion. They meet inside a war that is already burning. Sung Il-chuan's role adds heart to the season, because beneath all the gods, monarchs, and cosmic battles, this is still a story about a family that lost years to the dungeon. The monarchs understand that Jinwoo is becoming too dangerous. They cannot treat him like an ordinary hunter anymore, so they attack with overwhelming force. The Frost Monarch, the Beast Monarch, and the Plague Monarch create one of the darkest ambushes in the story. Jinwoo is powerful, but this battle proves that even he can be pushed to the edge when multiple monarchs fight with the intention to erase him completely. This fight is important because it breaks the illusion that Jinwoo can win every battle just by being stronger than the last enemy. The monarchs are ancient, experienced, and ruthless. They know what the Shadow Monarch represents, and they are terrified of what Jinwoo might become if he fully awakens. The season's tension peaks here because for the first time in a long time, Jinwoo truly looks vulnerable. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Abhi grow naturally. When Jinwoo reaches that edge of death, the deepest truth of the system is revealed. The system was not simply a magical training program. It was a way to prepare Jinwoo's body to inherit the power of Ashborn, the original Shadow Monarch. This revelation changes the meaning of Jinwoo's entire journey. Every quest, every penalty, every level up, and every near-death experience had been pushing him toward one destination: becoming a vessel strong enough to hold the full power of Death's King. But the key point is choice. Jinwoo is not just a puppet. Ashborn recognizes Jinwoo's will, his humanity, and his desire to protect. Instead of taking over, Ashborn passes the power forward. This is where Jinwoo stops being a hunter who uses shadows and becomes the true Shadow Monarch. After inheriting Ashbourne's full power, Jinwoo returns completely changed. He is still Sung Jinwoo, but the scale of his presence is different. His shadow army is no longer just a powerful ability. It becomes the visible proof that the monarchs failed to kill the one enemy they feared most. This return is one of the most satisfying moments in the season. The enemies who thought they had ended him suddenly realize that they have created something even worse for themselves. Jinwoo now carries the full authority of the Shadow Monarch, while keeping the heart and purpose that made him fight from the beginning. For the audience, this is the moment where despair flips into excitement. The war is still terrifying, but now humanity has a king standing on its. The final enemy is Antares, the Monarch of Destruction. His arrival makes every previous threat feel smaller. Antares does not come alone. He brings dragons, armies, and the pressure of pure annihilation. This is where the story becomes truly apocalyptic. The war is no longer hidden inside dungeons or isolated cities. It becomes a battle that can decide whether the human world survives at all. Jinwoo understands that he cannot defeat Antares by pretending this is a normal hunter fight. Antares is not a boss monster waiting to be cleared. He is a monarch built for destruction, and his army is made to burn worlds. The final battle begins with one clear idea. If Jinwoo falls, Earth falls with him. Jinwoo and Antares finally clash directly. This is not just a fight between two strong beings. It is a collision between two forms of power. Destruction that exists to end everything, and shadow that refuses to let the dead be forgotten. Antares is stronger in raw destructive force. He has experience, overwhelming presence, and an army built for war. But Jinwoo has something Antares underestimates: strategy, adaptability, and it was shaped by human relationships. He fights not because he wants to rule, but because he wants to protect the ordinary lives waiting behind him. The battle is brutal, fast, and massive. Jinwoo uses his army, his intelligence, and his full monarch authority to keep Antares engaged long enough for the final turn of the. Before we move ahead, please take a second to share on this video. Sharing helps this video reach friends who may also enjoy anime, gaming, travel, cricket, chess, career basics, or personal stories. Your support helps Amazing Abhi grow naturally. The ending of the battle is not only about overpowering Antares, it is about the rulers, the larger war, and Jinwoo's decision after seeing how much humanity has suffered. When the cup of reincarnation becomes part of the story, Jinwoo is offered a chance that no normal person would even know how to carry. He can rewind the world and fight the war again in a place where humanity does not have to remember the pain of gates, dungeons, and countless deaths. This is what makes Jinwoo's final decision so powerful. He chooses the lonely path. He accepts that the world may forget him, that people may never know what he sacrificed, and that he may have to fight for years beyond their sight. He does it anyway, because saving people matters more to him than being celebrated. The epilogue shows a world that feels almost impossible after everything we have seen. Gates are gone. The hunter era disappears. People live ordinary lives again, and many characters move through a peaceful timeline without remembering the battles that shaped them. But Jinwoo remembers. He carries the entire truth alone. That is why the ending feels both peaceful and heavy. He wins, but his victory is quiet. The world does not cheer for him because the world does not know what he saved it from. Still, the emotional payoff is beautiful. Jinwoo gets to see the people he protected living normal lives. He gets a future beyond constant fighting. And even though he remains the Shadow Monarch, the story reminds us that his strongest quality was never darkness. It was love, loyalty, and the will to protect. Season 4 would close the main story of Solo Leveling. It begins with the monarchs hunting the strongest humans, moves through Jinwoo's full awakening as the Shadow Monarch, and ends with the final war against Antares. The emotional core is simple. Jinwoo becomes powerful enough to stand above the world, but he uses that power to give the world peace. He loses recognition, carries memories alone, and chooses sacrifice over glory. After this, the story can continue through the side stories, where we see the changed timeline, Jinwoo's later life, and the beginning of the bridge towards Solo Leveling, Ragnarok. So if Season 4 is the finale of Sung Jinwoo's main rise, Ragnarok becomes the next generation, the story of Sung Suho stepping into a world shaped by his father's hidden war. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Amazing Abhi. Subscribing makes sure you do not miss the next video, and it gives me motivation to keep improving the quality of every upload. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.